She froze in the doorway. Steam drifted past her shoulders into the hallway, curling against the dim light of the bedroom. Water still clung to the ends of her hair, darkening the collarbone of the towel she had wrapped around herself. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't stood up from the chair by the window. I only asked the question. How long has this been going on? For a few seconds she didn't move at all, not toward me, not away. Just standing there, like a photograph that hadn't finished developing. It wasn't shock that held her still. It was calculation. Her eyes flicked toward the dresser, toward the floor, toward the faint reflection of us both in the mirror behind me. When they finally settled on my face, there was something fragile in them, not fear exactly. Something closer to being caught between two versions of the truth. "I don't know what you mean," she said. But the sentence came out too quickly, like a reflex she had practiced. I nodded once, almost politely. "You do." The house felt very quiet then. Even the heater had stopped running, leaving only the soft ticking of pipes in the walls. Months earlier I might have argued. Pressed harder. Demanded explanations. But suspicion changes the way you move through your own life. It teaches you patience you never wanted. I had spent the past 4 months learning the sound of small inconsistencies. The extra pauses in conversation, the phone that began living face down on counters, the late meetings that never produced stories. None of it was proof. But proof isn't what makes a question inevitable. Her shoulders dropped slightly. Not dramatically, just enough that the towel shifted against her arms. "How much do you know?" she asked. The strange thing was that the question didn't sting. If anything, it confirmed what I already understood about people. When someone asks that, they're not wondering whether you're wrong. They're wondering how exposed they are. "Enough," I said. She stepped into the room then and sat on the edge of the bed, still wrapped in the towel. Water dripped from her hair onto the hardwood floor in slow, deliberate drops. For a while she didn't speak, and in that silence my mind wandered somewhere unexpected. Not to anger, to memory. I thought about the apartment we rented when we were 27. The one with the crooked kitchen cabinet and the window that rattled during storms. We had eaten dinner on the floor for 3 weeks because we didn't own a table yet. She had laughed the entire time, balancing plates on a cardboard moving box. It's strange how betrayal doesn't erase those moments. It just bends them. Finally she exhaled. "It didn't start the way you think," she said quietly. I didn't answer. People explain things when they need to convince themselves. "He was just someone from work," she continued. "We were on the same project for months. It was normal." Normal. That word lingered between us like something fragile. "Then things were already bad between us," she added. "You were working late all the time, we barely talked." Her voice wasn't defensive anymore, it was tired. And I realized something then that surprised me. I wasn't angry about the story. I was listening for the timeline. "How long?" I asked again. She rubbed her hands together as if the answer might warm them. "Almost a year." The number sat in the air quietly. A year, not a mistake, not a moment. A parallel life running beside our own. I stood and walked to the window, looking out at the dark yard behind the house. The fence we built 2 summers ago cast a long shadow under the porch light. It struck me. Then how carefully 2 people can live beside each other, without really seeing the shape of what's happening. "What do you want to do?" she asked after a while. Her voice sounded smaller now. I turned back. "I already started," she blinked. That was the first real surprise she showed all evening. Earlier that afternoon I had sat in a quiet office downtown with a lawyer named Alina Park. The meeting had been scheduled weeks ago, before this conversation ever happened. I had brought bank statements, mortgage documents, insurance policies, evidence of a shared life. The law has a way of turning emotions into paperwork. It had been strangely calming. "There are some financial things we need to sort out," I said now. "The house. The accounts." Her face shifted slowly as the realization moved through her. You've been planning this. I've been preparing, I said. The distinction mattered to me. Planning implies certainty. Preparing means accepting that reality might already be different than you hoped. She looked down at her hands again. I didn't think you knew, she whispered. I didn't, I said. At first, and that was the truth. What I had known was simpler, something between us had gone quiet in a way that felt permanent. Suspicion came later. So did confirmation. She stayed on the bed for a long time after that, staring at the floor where the water from her hair had formed a small, uneven circle. The strange part was how calm the room felt. No shouting, no dramatic accusations. Just two people realizing that the structure they had lived inside for 10 years had already changed shape long before tonight. Eventually she asked, "Are you leaving?" I thought about that. About the house. The yard. The life that once felt like a single path. I don't know yet, I said honestly. The lawyer had explained the timelines, the options, the practical steps that come next. But none of that answered the deeper question. What does a marriage become after the truth arrives? Outside, a car passed slowly on the road, its headlights sliding across the ceiling before disappearing again. For the first time that night, she looked directly at me. Not defensive, not calculating, just uncertain. And I realized something quiet but steady inside myself. Whatever happened next, whether we rebuilt something or walked away entirely, the future wouldn't be decided by silence anymore. The truth had entered the room, and it wasn't leaving.